श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साधवैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रसारिणे निरविशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्वसे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचलनिवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणम् Text 14 today. दैवी ह्येष गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यया मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामेतां तरन्ति ते. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of his energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original spiritual power is covered. Being thus covered by the material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal spiritual nature of the Lord. But due to the contamination by the inferior nature, matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nitya Baddha or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his being conditioned at a certain date in the material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by the divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows. Mayam tu prakritim vidya mayinam tu maheshwaram. Although Maya illusion is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwara, the supreme controller. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be held by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release a conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service or Krishna consciousness can help one gain such a release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the conditioned soul and out of his parental affection for the living entity, who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajoguna, passion, and Tamoguna, ignorance, to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya, therefore he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. The Vedas, the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, confirm this in the phrase Tameva viditva. Freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti pradata sarvesham Vishnur eva na samshayah. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. The Lord is explaining here that the material energy is insurmountable. It is not possible for a living entity to combat the material energy. The material energy is overwhelming. It is insurmountable. And the most important factor to notice is that the material energy always overpowers the living entity. Because the living entity is minute and the living entity is conditioned. Therefore, material energy always overpowers the living entity. So it seems that it is a deadly game. It's a deadly battle against Maya. And the chance of the living entity is winning are very less. Material nature crushes everyone. So the chances of the living entity are very less because material nature will crush everyone. That's the nature of material energy, it will crush everyone. So therefore, chances are very less. And that's why Prabhupada is explaining that because the material energy is uh, illusory. I mean, the material energy is eternal, and the living entity is superior. But in a contaminated state, the superior energy contaminated by the inferior energy, that illusion is also eternal, Prabhupada is telling. So the living entity is also, so that illusion of the living entity is illusory. That is what is going to be. That is what is mentioned actually. So many times person feels that I can strike a balance with the material energy. I can have some negotiations with the material energy. So I can regulate it. But actually, many times because of these type of thought process, the living entity gets bewildered, overwhelmed. Metal energy, if you touch, it is going to overwhelm. There's no question of negotiation there. There is no bargain happening. There is no reconciliation happening. There is no accommodation which is happening. The fabric of metal energy is very strong. Now, materialistic outlook, one feels that he will combat metal nature. No, I will, I will develop resilience. No, like that, and I will develop resilience, and I will actually, prove it. I will not allow metal energy to be victorious. Metal energy always heralds the victory flag. Actually, the living entity is no match against metal energy. So that is to be understood because metal energy is insurmountable. Why it is insurmountable? Because Krishna is insurmountable. Because Krishna is insurmountable, you see, an insurmountable amount of power has to be created to make people forget Krishna. Otherwise, it's impossible to forget Krishna. Suppose metal energy had limited power, then it would have been impossible for people to forget Krishna because Krishna is insurmountable. How do you cover Krishna? Somebody who can cover Krishna has to be as powerful as Krishna, like that, subservient to Krishna, but as powerful as Krishna. Because if somebody is limited powerful, how can you upload Krishna? It's not possible. It's impossible. So therefore, we say metal energy is very powerful because it's insurmountable. It's based on Krishna. We cannot combat. So the materialistic attitude, therefore, a materialistic person gets thoroughly frustrated, miserable, and his life ends in a very pathetic note because he's getting deprived of everything. Actually, so you see, people want to cling on to their position, name, fame, prestige, and people don't want that many times. A person wants to cling on, like you see, a person wants to cling on to his name tag. So you see, one is not able to give it up because one thinks that this aspect of metal energy, I want to hold it, and metal energy snaps time and again. We see that the taste of exploiting metal energy, combating metal energy is very intoxicating. People don't leave, just like political power say. Even from the deathbed, a person may want to hold on to his political power. You know, so they don't leave their chair. They don't leave their. People are going on. They're 80, they're 85. They're going on non-stop. Is it? So people don't leave till deathbed. They are attached to it, or somebody has to come and shoot them. Is it? They're shot. Then only they leave. Or you know, so people are so attached. They don't want to leave like that. They want that no, I have to exert my power, my prowess, everything. Similarly, you know, we can see, movie stars, sports stars. Sometimes, a person may be, 60, but he still feels that, he can dance with a 25, 20-year-old girl. So, you see the amount of illusion which is created. The person thinks I am still the rock star, like that. The amount of illusion which is created. So, this kind of illusion is now we have to understand that when the superior energy gets surrounded by this inferior energy, it creates illusion. That is a law, that is a principle. We cannot avoid the principle. Just like we understand uh, when a man and a woman come near to each other, then there is a reaction, degrading reaction which takes place in their hearts. That's a principle. You cannot say no, 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 no. I will have all good intentions and everything. No, 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 no. I am seeing with clear vision, no, no, no issues and all that. Don't talk about vision. It is a principle. It's a reaction mechanism. It is a characteristic intrinsic quality. So that kind of bargain with mental energy cannot is of no use actually. People say sometimes, no, no, uh, let us take wine, but we will take regulated, only one peg a day. So that sort of bargain with mental energy will not work out. It may start with one peg till the time we are convinced that we are sense control, and then it will increase that way. Or people understand, okay, let me enjoy a little bit. So that little bit is a trap actually. We have to understand touch with mental energy means we are finished. Only the pure devotees can challenge mental energy in that way. Like the Gopas, they were challenging and they saw this Aghasur and they understood because they're very intelligent people. They're not sentimental, illiterate people. They're very intelligent. They will understand this fellow is a snake, it's a foul fellow, a dirty fellow, the demon. But then they were understanding, but his tongue is very spongy, like that. His tongue is very spongy, so they wanted to play. They thought it's a foul smell coming, but the ground is spongy. Let's play around, like that. And but then they were feeling that no, this fellow will eat us up. But then they understood Krishna says that's no problem. So who can create problem? So knowing everything, they jumped in. Is it not? Remembering Krishna, and they were playing around. Is it not? And they were no, and they were jumping, and his tongue was really spongy. It was very nice tongue, like that. And they were enjoying it so much. Is it not? And Aghasur was in a fix because Krishna had not come. So Aghasur was not wanting to close because he wanted Krishna. He was not interested in Stanipini, like that. So therefore Aghasur also did not close and they were enjoying, like that. And they were having a good bungee jump and they were having a nice time actually. When Krishna came, Aghasur wanted to started showing its colors. So, and the Gopas, they had a nice time. And Krishna saw they were so happy. So Krishna let the Aghasur he installed the Aghasur body there only. So it became a permanent theme park. You know? So Vrindavan had theme parks actually. It's not a new concept, theme parks. So you see there was this bungee jump theme park actually. Vrindavan had theme parks. So now the point to note is that you see Aghasur very dangerous. So, but the Gopas dared to challenge Aghasur. Two things. The Gopas were Nitya Siddha associates of the Lord. The first thing. Uh, and second thing was that Aghasur was not interested in the Gopas. That point has to be understood. Aghasur was interested in Krishna. And therefore Aghasur did not do anything with the Gopas. So one may say, okay, the Gopas out of the power of the devotional service, they could, relish, is it not? So I can also play a little bit of mental energy. Uh, yeah, I can play, like that. Krishna is there, Hare Krishna is there, again, that way. So point it, first of all, is a qualifier that they were pure devotee. Now one may say, okay, I'm also advanced, So one may feel like that, illusion, like that. But the second point also has to be noted. They could play around and they could relish and jump and all and have an adventure thrill because the Aghasur was not interested in that. Aghasur was interested in Krishna. Now here comes the point that when it comes to Maya Shakti, Maya is interested in us. So she has no cross with Krishna. She is following the dictates of Krishna. She is interested in us, you fools, you rascals. Now I will set you right. Take it right. You have messed up so much. Now you will get shock treatment. So because Maya is interested in us, we have to be extra careful. तो इसीलिए the Shastras and the Acharyas mention don't play with material energy. The analogy which is given is that the analogy is given of a snake, a deadly venomous and a snake, poisonous, deadly, venomous, vengeful snake. That's the analogy which is given. And it is said, don't play with a snake. One may say, no, 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 I know how to hold the fangs. Okay, you may know how to hold the fangs. Don't touch the snake. Why? Because you play little bit discrepancy, you'll be finished. That is the point. Is it not? And literally, this has happened in our movements. If you remember the incident many years back, there was a brahmachari Nigdi who caught hold of a snake because the snake had come in the temple premises. It was a poisonous snake. It was something like a Russell's viper. I don't know the exact breed of it, but it was a poisonous snake. So he caught it. He knew the art. He caught it, and he had put him in a pitara. And all devotees were glorifying. He became the hero of the congregation, the ashram, everybody, a real hero, like that. And he had put in a pitari and everything and all that. It was all fine. It was all done. It was finished. Now he should have disposed of the snake, but he didn't dispose. You know, and everybody was coming to take darshan, the temple. Temple. So many artis are there. People are not excited. But one snake came. People were excited. That okay, let me go and see and all that. Like that. So and he would, and people would see from a distance and all that, whatever, he would be showing whatever protocol he would be following, or darshan protocol or like that, because the social distancing, darshan protocol or whatever, people were taking darshan and all that. So actually, one time, and then probably like the mistake was that he should have disposed of, but he didn't do that. It was a big mistake. And then what happened is that then. Then there was somebody might have questioned, or some people might be questioning some devotees, that is it really poisonous, like that. So he said, yeah, it's poisonous. So how do you understand? No, it's poisonous, because in general nobody can understand whether it's poisonous or it is poisonless or what it is. He said, no, it's poisonous. He said, we have a doubt. I mean, we don't know. I mean, who knows how it? Then he thought, okay, I'll give a demonstration. So he took out the snake. So he opened his mouth, and he was showing, see, the teeth is there, and while he did that, the snake slithered, meaning the whole process, and slithered, and his fangs touched him. He died. It happened. Severe incident. Many years back. Ranand Maharaj gave a class after that also. The title of the class was that only, don't play with the snake of material energy. So it's unfortunate, but that's all it is. So okay, it was no, the first note was a call of service to Vaishnavas, protection of devotees, everything. So he jumped in, like that. Okay, in such a service, even if he would have lost his life, it would have been, okay, to save devotees. He did something. Is it? That was That is still okay, fine, understandable, like that. But after that, what happened was playing, simply playing around with the metal energy. So we need to be very careful. We need to understand we should not play with the metal energy. Metal energy very dangerous. So the principle of metal energy has to be very properly. There is no such thing as little bit. Okay, for some time let me enjoy. Little bit I can enjoy. Either it is finished or it is rejected. Either it's nothing to do with it or the person gets finished. There is nothing in between which happens. What is in between? What is in between? There's nothing in between. Therefore, material energy one has to be. So material energy one has to be. So the first principle, therefore, one has to be fearful of material energy. If you are fearful, we are healthy. One cannot become casual. It's okay. It's not okay. Material energy is not at all okay. Like that, one has to be fearful of material energy. So the Lord explains, one has to be very fearful. Because of being fearful, one will be very careful. And that is the only way to deal with material energy. So the Lord is explaining here that the only way material energy can be, we can save ourselves from the material energy. It's wrong to say material energy can be handled. Don't have power to handle it, but we only have power to escape from its clutches. So the only way we can try to escape or save ourselves from the fury of mental energy is by this aspect that the Lord is explaining, that the mental energy is subservient to Krishna. So mental energy is placed in contact with Krishna, mental energy peaceful. Mental energy is taken, seen in context separate from Krishna, very dangerous. That is the point. So therefore, the sadhaka should understand this principle. Like you see, our acharyas have explained so prominently. When it comes to, uh, say, dealings with Mataji as a woman, like that. Now, there is no such thing as it's okay, One has to be very fearful, and because of fear, one has to be very careful. So, in general, dealings with the opposite sex, yeah. One has to be fearful and therefore very careful. Because the moment there is, no, the social distancing norms are, forfeited, uh, the mind starts getting polluted. So one has to follow very strict protocols. There is no, there is nothing called as orthodox and practical in that. There is no practicality. We'll get caught badly, actually. So we have to understand mental energy. Same thing about same thing about money. Very careful, very careful. We are dealing with children. Same thing. Instead of a small child, I can cajole him, I can embrace him, I have to understand. Child is child, it's fine. Krishna's child, like that. You know, I cannot dare to touch the child. Don't touch the body of any child. Touch, it goes in the head. The head starts getting like that. So we have to be very careful because metal energy, soft skin, very careful we have to be. Because otherwise, it is going to intoxicate. You see what Prabhupada is telling. The mixing of the superior energy with the inferior energy creates a permanent illusion. Because you are mixing. then the reaction and force fields act in such a way that there is permanent illusion and one cannot escape it. So the Lord is only telling the escape route is what? That do not touch material energy. Only place material energy in connection with Krishna. Because subservient to Krishna, place it next to Krishna, it will be peaceful. If you try to place it in your pocket, oh, very dangerous. Like that. Very, very dangerous. That's we need to be convinced of this fact actually. Therefore, we need to be convinced of this fact. So therefore, there is no concept of messing up with metal energy. Metal energy is not very, very powerful, very, very dangerous actually. So we have to understand only metal energy don't interact. Is it not? Metal energy along with her master, fine. Like that. So whenever metal energy says, okay, let's have a meeting, we have to say, you will come later. First, let me call the master. Then you come. Like that. So therefore, some money has to come into our bank accounts. First, we should understand which service of Krishna it has to go. The master has to come first. ये हमसे handle होने वाला नहीं है. This green currency cannot be handled. It's very dangerous. है कि नहीं? वो पहले उनके मास्टर को बुलाएंगे किस सर्विस में किस मिशन में जाने वाला है. आया गया. That's it. Nothing like okay, let it come. We'll think about it. Where we'll spend it. By the way, my kurta is torn. By the way, we don't have a bike. By the way, KGP requires some coolers. It's very hot. By the way, so so then the case will become that one fine day one will think. By the way, there was a time when I was thinking about spiritual life. That time changed. So the metal energy overpowers very powerfully. Actually, we have to be very careful. We have to be very, very careful. So this is the only way. So therefore, a sincere sadhaka, he does not he does not want to deal with metal energy at all. Because what happens is that technically speaking, from Tattva point of view, when metal energy is in contact with Krishna, Krishna is spiritual energy, and Krishna is absolute spiritual energy. So basically, technically is energetic, but Krishna is the sum and bonum, the manifestation of spiritual energy. Anything comes in contact with Krishna gets spiritualized. When metal energy is placed in contact with Krishna at the lotus of feet of Krishna, the metal energy becomes spiritualized. When the metal energy becomes spiritualized, there is no toxin or poison which comes to us. It's simple. But this has to be kept in mind always. And okay, don't hold anything for your personal self. Don't deal with. So therefore, a sincere devotee, he denies dealing with metal energy on a material note. He doesn't want to do that. He says, नहीं metal energy ठीक है, इसका ये कहाँ है? Connection to Krishna. Where is its connection to Krishna? I don't want to deal with metal energy directly like that. Therefore, we have to understand. That is why actually, we have to understand. You see, Srimad Bhagavatam now talks about this pastime of Bharat Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj gives shelter to the deer, and Prabhupada gives so many warnings there. You see, the point is that when we are preaching, also we have to be careful. That we don't have the power to to offer shelter to anyone. Sometimes the person says, "My shelter, I'm offering shelter. I'm offering shelter. My shelter." So that my shelter, offering shelter means again we are dealing with mental energy without bringing in Krishna. So sometimes one feels I am a group leader, I am a counselor, I am a representative, a guru, I am a guru, whatever progressions one may have in one's life. The point is that we have to understand I cannot offer shelter to anyone. See, Prabhupada is telling what because if I deal with mental energy like that, okay, I am offering shelter, I'll get caught up. because that goes into the head. I am offering shelter. These people are sheltered on me. They are my energy, whatever, you know. So it molests the heart actually. We have to understand, that we are only helping people to connect to Krishna shelter. Only Krishna can offer shelter. This is the basic punchline of preaching, which has to be kept in mind. And this is what the Bharat Maharaj pastime is teaching. The only lesson from, I mean, the most prominent lesson from the pastime is this only. Is it not? That he was alone and he thought he can offer shelter. He didn't realize that actually Krishna is arranging everything. Krishna can offer shelter, not he, actually. So, this is very important. So, in our efforts for preaching, taking care, I mean, that doesn't mean we are insensitive to devotees, but we encourage them taking shelter of Krishna. That's the point. We can spend time with them, we can hear about them, we can think about them, pray about them, meditate about them. That's all fine. But then we have to understand the heart of the heart. It's not me who's offering shelter. We are helping them to connect to Krishna. If they remain connected to devotee service, mission, association, it will be sadhana, you know? Then that is what will offer the shelter actually in time, in due course of time. So this has to be kept in mind. That means a devotee has to understand. So therefore, uh, uh, always one should connect to, one should look out for Krishna while dealing with anything material. You know, while dealing with people, we have to look out for Krishna. Is it not? Like that. Therefore, right from day one, we engage devotees in Krishna service. Because if you don't create a space and give him engagement, then we may feel he's a resource who is on bench. So better let him serve me. You know, that kind of, you know. So better engage people in Krishna service actually. That way. So we have to understand that the only principle to save ourselves, we don't touch material energy without adding Krishna. So that way we are not dealing with material. We deny to deal with material energy. We only want to deal with spiritualized energies. That's all. In this way we are preparing ourselves for the spiritual world.